Buenos días o buenas tardes. Good morning, good afternoon. Bienvenidos a este seminario web, Museos de Agua Públicos, Sustentabilidad e Inclusión. Este seminario tiene la posibilidad de ser oído en inglés o en español, según su preferencia. Para eso, en la barra de herramientas, ustedes tienen un icono, que es como en nuestro planeta, que dice interpretación. Es abajo a la derecha, y si ustedes necesitan, por ejemplo en este momento, escucharme en inglés, pueden utilizar la interpretación cliqueando sobre la palabra inglés o English. Lo contrario, cuando alguno de los panelistas hable en inglés, ustedes pueden entonces ir y cliquear sobre español o Spanish, y entonces van a poder oír a nuestras intérpretes, que desde ya les agradezco enormemente, a Soledad Insiburo y Lourdes Martino, que nos permiten entonces tener este intercambio sin barreras lingüísticas. Los objetivos de este seminario son, en primer lugar, visibilizar a la Red Global de Museos del Agua, asociada al Programa Intergubernamental, Hidrológico Intergubernamental de la UNESCO, visibilizarla entonces en nuestra región de América Latina y el Caribe. Y en particular también hacer notar la existencia de un capítulo regional dentro de esta Red Global de Museos del Agua, que se va consolidando a partir de su formalización a fines del año 2019. Este webinario, este seminario web, es entonces una actividad en ese sentido para ir fortaleciendo nuestros vínculos a nivel de la región, pero también en conexión con la Red Global de Museos, y por eso tenemos invitados especiales de otras regiones de esta red. En particular, en este seminario, colegas de Europa. La excusa de este encuentro son los 150 años del inicio del abastecimiento de agua corriente y agua potable en Uruguay, desde una pequeña localidad, Aguas Corrientes, hacia todo el área metropolitana de la capital del país, que es Montevideo. Han sido 150 años de aprendizaje y vamos a tener la suerte de compartir la experiencia, especialmente de la empresa pública de agua, la Otte, que desde 1952 ¿sí? ha estado a cargo justamente del abastecimiento de agua potable en todo el país y también del saneamiento. ¿Sí? Por eso, y un poco vinculado con esta conmemoración, uno de los temas principales que atraviesa las presentaciones de este seminario van a ser las formas en que los museos del agua son gestionados, son administrados por compañías públicas de agua y saneamiento o por municipalidades, ¿sí? De ahí el título Museos del Agua Públicos, ¿sí? Y tratar de compartir las buenas experiencias y también, bueno, los dilemas que significa, ¿verdad?, en este momento llevar adelante todos los procesos educativos y culturales en torno a los museos del agua. Vamos a tener dos paneles. El primer panel está focalizado en la experiencia de 4 museos europeos, y el segundo panel, a partir de lo que serían las 11 horas aquí en Montevideo, va a ser con participación de experiencias de América Latina y el Caribe. Les quiero mostrar cómo va a ser nuestra comunicación. Vamos a tener presentaciones de entre 15 y 20 minutos, en cada panel hay 4, y al final de las presentaciones vamos a tener la posibilidad de un espacio de intercambio y preguntas, y para eso ustedes tienen la opción, ¿verdad?, en la barra de herramientas en su pantalla, de preguntas y respuestas, Q&A, ¿sí? Y entonces ahí van a ustedes hacer las preguntas o comentarios para los panelistas. Si ustedes tienen que hacer otro tipo de interacción con el público, quieren mandar alguna referencia su propio nombre, de dónde vienen, saludar, les pedimos que por favor para eso utilicen el chat. ¿Sí? Utilicen entonces la opción de preguntas y respuestas para comunicarse con los panelistas, y nosotros, quienes vamos a estar facilitando los paneles, vamos de esta manera a poder seleccionar algunas de sus preguntas y otras quizás los propios panelistas podrán responderlas directamente en la función de preguntas y respuestas. Bien, a continuación, y a modo de apertura, tenemos el gusto de contar con nosotros con el señor Alexandre Otte, que es representante del Programa Hidrológico Intergubernamental de la UNESCO, que trabaja en la División de Ciencias del Agua. Y ha sido siempre un gran promotor de no solo la familia del agua de la UNESCO, sino en particular de esta iniciativa de la Red Global de Museos del Agua. Así que, welcome, Alexander, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Javier, and thank you for the invitation and the opportunity that you give to the Intergovernmental Hydrological Program to speak in this venue. And I'm very pleased to see some familiar faces among the panelists, and already very active in the Global Water Museums Network. Let me start with just the take that really the current situation we are experiencing everywhere in the world is showing us how much it is important to create a dialogue between science and culture that is far more effective than what we have been seeing up to now. That in fact, the scientific knowledge about water that we are having is already very much present in the spheres of experts, and it needs to be carried to a much larger public than it is currently being the case. I think the dialogue of science and culture is really an absolute necessity, and I think the water museums throughout the world are an excellent means to convey a better understanding of water.
Entendimiento de los recursos hídricos del agua para el público en general, quienes no necesariamente están expuestos a la información y el conocimiento científico. Necesitamos estas herramientas que los museos de agua pueden brindar, que nuestras redes pueden brindar, para poder fortalecer y para poder tener un abordaje conectado con la educación, no necesariamente vinculado a la educación formal, pero que sí puede complementarla y puede ser un aliado también. Los museos de agua creo que son tanto sitios materiales que podemos visitar, pero también, especialmente, y justamente cuando no podemos visitarlos físicamente, son ámbitos donde podamos aprender, son herramientas fundamentales para la concientización, para compartir conocimientos y para comprender cuán complejo es el recurso hídrico, y también la diversidad de todos los valores que acarrea, que conlleva, todos estos valores que recientemente en la evaluación o en el informe mundial de la valoración del agua se pudo apreciar, y todos los valores asociados al agua. Tenemos también la Red Global de Museos de Agua, que es una de las herramientas para poder mejorar esa comprensión de todos los valores que conlleva el agua. La conexión entre el agua y la sociedad. Realmente debemos, y uno de los objetivos de la educación del agua es comprender esa interacción, esa conexión. Es un paso muy importante y que probablemente tenemos que contemplar los contextos regionales y los contextos locales de la evolución de las sociedades. Es este contexto, es esta interconexión a nivel local, a nivel regional, que realmente nos muestra las culturas y las creencias locales y nos da la oportunidad de también comunicar esto a más personas, personas que quizás viven ahí y han perdido esa conexión a cómo se da la gestión de los recursos hídricos a nivel local. Estos museos de agua pueden renovar esa conexión y ese vínculo que es fundamental a la hora de enfrentar los distintos desafíos que tenemos.
Well, extremely tough on a lot of people, where we have still on this planet still over 2 billion people who require access to safe water. We have 1 out of 2 inhabitants of the planet that has no access to safe sanitation. The water and sanitation challenges, on the other hand, are crucial for food safety and for healthcare, for peaceful cooperation, and for simply the thriving and sustainable economic development in many countries. In particular, women and girls are affected by water issues, and we have about 200 million hours every day spent by women and girls, 200 million hours every day collecting water, which is curtailing their opportunities to choose their lives. So we cannot achieve education for all if we cannot get water to everyone, if we don't have toilets and privacy in every school, and especially for girls. We've also seen that, well, with the recent flood events in Europe and in China, there is no place that is exempt from water extremes. The water requirements for agriculture, industry, urbanism, and energy are soaring at the same time as we are facing those extremes. So while on the one hand, we have assessments according to the 2030 Water Resources Group that the world will face a water shortage of about 40% against global demand in the global picture. If we do not act now, basically if we don't counteract it now, we have at the same time local events that show that simply the distribution of water is as much an issue as a global lack of it. So anyway, the IHP has been taking on those issues already since quite a while. The Intergovernmental Hydrological Program is working now in its 8th phase, so it exists since over 40 years. They're trying to provide support to member states in order to give them opportunities for better water management, to better understand the hydrological cycle in their proper setting. And we try to cater for a holistic approach that includes precisely management, research, capacity development, but also not only the hydrological, purely scientific, mathematical assessment of the amount of water in the cycle, but also the understanding of how society does actually deal with that water and how culture is influencing this use of water and the management of water. The Global Water Museums Network really is one of the key assets that within the UNESCO water family can support water education efforts to make water education and the understanding of water not only by experts, scientists, by practitioners, by policymakers, but also by the general public that can make that understanding of water more holistic. We've seen through the action of the Global Water Museum Network a lot of feedback coming, for instance, through the youth that has been called upon to contribute with the Water We Want events and Water We Want contest, contribute artistic messages, very often underpinned by already strong scientific knowledge. And we want that this kind of material can be more widespreadly used in the water family. This UNESCO water family, as we call it, it encompasses national committees and focal points in 169 countries. So it's spanning all the globe. We We have a lot of 36, in fact, centers for research and training under the auspices of UNESCO dealing with water, and 65 UNESCO chairs. And Javier, you're one of those UNESCO chairs dealing with water. The role of the Global Water Museum in this network can only grow, in fact. It is currently included in the just approved strategy for the coming phase of IHP. So we are now in the 8th, we are going into the 9th phase starting next year, which will direct the 10 years of work of the Intergovernmental Hydrological Program. WAMUNET is underlined in there as one of the key tools for water education. And the UNESCO member states have just been underlining also the importance of WAMUNET in general terms for adaptation of countries, providing help to the countries to adapt, to mitigate, and to reach to climate change and to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. This resolution that has been passed at the last Intergovernmental Council, intergovernmental gathering of the member states of UNESCO, this resolution recognizes that water museums worldwide are unique repositories of humanity's multifaceted water heritage, both tangible and intangible. And they are important promoters for water awareness, education, and science. So there's an official recognition of this by the member states of UNESCO, and we are reaching out to them to foster the support to the network in all regions. And we're very pleased, of course, that Latin America and the Caribbean have already set up a regional network of the Global Water Museums network, and hope that this chapter of WAMUNET can be strengthened and can also serve as an example. We look forward to involving this network also in the 9th World Water Forum in Dakar next year, where we will work together with WAMUNET to strengthen also an African chapter. And I'm sure that South-South partnerships can be an excellent tool to expand the network further. Thank you very much to all, and I wish you a successful webinar.
Thank you, Alexander, for your words. Gracias, Alexander, por esta apertura, resaltando la importancia de la Red Global de Museos del Agua para el Programa Intergubernamental, Hidrológico Intergubernamental de la UNESCO. Bien, antes de pasar al primer panel, quiero solo agradecer a todo el equipo de trabajo de la oficina del PHI en Montevideo, en especial a Camila Tori, a Sabrina Cupeiro, Soledad Benítez, Sofía y Eduardo Trapani, y también a nuestro hidrólogo regional, Miguel Doria, que con su apoyo hemos podido llevar adelante e iniciar este seminario web. También quiero saludar especialmente a las compañeras del Comité de Patrimonio y de Bienes Culturales de la OCE, que está Adriana en este momento con su cámara prendida. Muchas gracias, porque el origen de esta idea, y también Ingrid, el origen de este seminario fue a partir de nuestras conversaciones y su trabajo en torno al Museo del Agua, que ya vamos a escuchar y aprender de ustedes. A Inti Clavijo, que es el que nos está ayudando en la parte técnica, también a Karine Caussé, del PHI en París, y por supuesto a Eriberto Eulisse, que es el director ejecutivo de la WAMUNET, de la Red Global de Museos del Agua, que desde el principio se sumó con mucho entusiasmo a esta iniciativa. Le paso entonces la palabra justamente a Eriberto Eulisse para que haga la presentación del primer panel y una brevísima introducción al trabajo de WAMUNET. Adelante, Eriberto.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful for this opportunity of confrontation you organized today, especially among water museums, public water museums from Europe and Latin America, of course. I'm grateful also for the idea of this webinar to Adriana Marchisio and Otte. And to the team of UNESCO office in Montevideo. Also to Alexandre Otte, who provided already a global picture about the many challenges and problems we are facing with water all over the world. I have prepared, before starting the presentations, a few slides. Many of you know already about the Global Network of Water Museums, and also Alexandre Otte provided useful information. However, with this presentation, for those that doesn't know about WAMUNET, there are a few key milestones that are important to remind, because they are the reason for which today we are here for this webinar and for this meeting. So I will try to share my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, Eriberto, we see it.
Thank you.
Full screen.
So, as Alexandre Otte stressed already, water museums are key actors today to face the global water crisis. The global water crisis is quite well represented, I think, in this picture, where the king lion is about to leave to his son a kingdom, with a beautiful kingdom, but with a lot of problems. As we know, not only caused by pollution which is on the sea, but most of the pollution that is on the sea is generated by rivers. Rivers are highly polluted. And also, of course, the consequences of climate change that are affecting many countries all over the world, with the water scarcity, but floodings as well, are more and more serious threats that we have to face. So in facing these challenges, the position of the Global Network of Water Museums, which is encoded in the statute, is to bridge past and present water heritage. We need to connect ourselves.
Patrimonio hídrico del pasado y del presente. Tenemos que conectar a la sociedad con las raíces de cómo se gestionaba el agua, cómo se entendía el agua en el pasado. Porque el tema del agua constituye muchas veces un patrimonio muy frágil.
Also, all water museums have somehow the duty to inspire people, to create new emotional bonds with water, because traditional culture, let's call it a traditional culture, many times is not sufficient to make such a transmission through generations. We need to involve larger audiences through tools that include formal and non-formal education. So this is these are the goals of the Global Network of Water Museums, which first were recognized in 2018. Alexandre Otte was mentioning this resolution adopted by the Intergubernamental Hydrological Program, titled The Global Network of Water Museums and UNESCO IHP in support of water sustainability education and water awareness efforts. So water education for many of the museums that are part of our network is a key activity. It's a cornerstone to build a better future. But our network includes, on the other hand, not only museums, but also a larger notion of water heritage, tangible and intangible, natural and cultural water heritage. And what is even more difficult to understand for many people is the concept of living water heritage, how communities deal and manage water in different ways. That's a crucial heritage that most of modern, so-called modern contemporary societies have lost in part, and this is an incredible, important heritage that we need to keep track of and to transmit. So today we are meeting for the 150th anniversary of Otte and the inauguration of their water museum, which is the Water Museum of Uruguay, which is a key vector for transmitting a water culture, the local water culture, which has so many similarities, but at the same time, there are so many diversities among the liquid routes and the water memories that all the museums that are presenting today their heritage are confronted with. So the global network of water museums is made today by more than 70 museums located all over the world in 28 different states. Altogether, before the COVID, they count more than 30 million visitors per year. These are important numbers when we talk about water education and the different water cultures that are treated by all water museums. However, our members are distributed not equally among the continents. Most of them are still in Europe, 45, and we have 5 water museums in Latin America, well, in the Americas, 12 water museums in Asia, and 2 in Africa. So we are working in the next for the next phases to enlarge membership, especially for those continents, for those regions where we don't have so many water museums. Of course, there are benefits for being WAMUNET members, being part of a larger community, exchange experiences, being represented also in the WAMUNET website, having their activities promoted through our newsletters, participated to conferences, training activities. Well, I'm not going to repeat what many of you know already. And before the COVID, we had also the possibility to meet physically at least once per year in Italy, in the Netherlands, in China, in Spain. And now, unfortunately, because of the COVID, also the possibility to meet and to exchange are quite limited. Well, we are lucky because through webinars, we still can connect through different parts of the world. That's really a wonderful tool. However, we are already planning our next activities and next phases. So after the endorsement of the first resolution, we are planning what we call the second phase of WAMUNET and how to manage a network that is growing continuously, and also the activities, the number of activities. As Alexandre Otte mentioned already, there is a new resolution adopted by the Intergovernmental Council of IHP only 1 month ago. So after 2018, there is a new resolution titled, well, a new resolution aimed at developing further our network, which is a very important resolution for us, because for the contents of this resolution, we will work more closely with Alexandre Otte and the IHP Secretariat to identify, to get in touch with the IHP national committees, that is UNESCO IHP committees at national level, to identify water museums and invite them to join WAMUNET. What is more, through this resolution, we hope also to get direct support from member states. Through this resolution, this possibility is now much easier to get in-kind support or direct financial contributions, also to manage a growing complexity for developing the network. Well, we have upcoming activities. I invite you also to visit our website to see what we are doing, starting from the next training course dedicated to the staff of water museums. The course is organized by the UNESCO chair in Venice. We'll start in October. And then we will continue also our youth award activities. We are planning participation to the 9th World Water Forum in Senegal, and planning also our next international conference and new activities with our members.